Good morning, everyone. I am Julia. I am a wellness and empowerment coach, and I have decided to launch the Empowered Humans Project, which is an amazing project documenting the human experience. And I'm going to do a weekly vlog introducing different types of very influential individuals that have been part of my healing entourage. And today I would like to introduce to you my amazingly beautiful friend, Mary Petto. She's the author of the Family Guide to the Law of Attraction and the creator of the Miracle Maker Immersion course. She's a sought after private coach. She's a transformational speaker. Her presentations consistently result in immediate feedback from her audiences. And whether her clients are looking for romance, sales, success in business, better grades in school, Mary's message is that everyone has the power to create the reality that they want to experience. And she's phenomenal. She's been featured in different types of magazines, iHeartRadio, countless blogs as well. I highly recommend for everyone to go out and get her book. And I have worked with Mary. She's part of my wellness entourage. I have went through some traumatic experiences and have really come out on the other side. And this is my whole purpose for doing these vlogs, is to bring healing and transformation to others. And Mary has been monumental in that process for me. So I'd like to welcome Mary. Hi, Mary. How are you? Happy Saturday.
Thank you. Happy Saturday. We love the weekends.
Sure do. Sure do. So we're going to dive right into it. So Mary, tell us a little bit about the law of attraction and why it's so powerful.
So the law of attraction is a natural law of the universe that says that we attract to ourselves all that we think about and believe and have our intention on, just by the nature of the energetic frequency, that we are generally a match for it. And so that's why it seems that people that have bad luck are always in bad luck. And there are people in the world that seem like they stepped in poop and they're just always lucky and they have everything. It really is just a matter of your intention, where you focus and where your energetic vibration is. And why it's so important and why it's so powerful is that we really can shift the experiences that we have in our life. And once you embrace that the law of attraction or the law of vibration is an actual law, natural law of the universe, just like gravity, you can really create lots and lots of magic in your life. So,
Love that concept. I have been, actively doing this and following you and your Facebook group and your website. And I have seen a transformation in my life in multiple different ways. And I think it's beyond powerful. Like, we can't even imagine it until we actually start doing it. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about how you got into this, and like how did your journey start with all of this?
Well, it's interesting because it's kind of a backwards journey. Basically I had always lived a life where everything always worked out for me. And, as a kid, as a teen, as a young adult, not only did everything always work out for me, but I would have really little patience for people who complained about things not being right in their life, that things weren't, on the right track about, their life, their romance, college, whatever it was, their job. And I just didn't grasp, like, what's wrong with you? Just decide what you want. And it's like, just decide. And then it will be yours. Like, what's the problem? Because that was always my experience. But then I got married, and perfect husband, like exactly what I wanted. But I had kids and I had them close together. And when they were really young, I went through this period where I had acute anxiety. I mean, I was afraid of everything. I was nervous all the time. I had this intense fear of death. I was so afraid of things happening to my kids, to my husband, like I just was constantly in this state of fear. And like my husband would come home from work sometimes and literally find me like on the floor curled in a ball. And I'd be so grateful that he was home because my kids were young and I felt incapacitated, to even take care of them. And at the time, I actually was a social media consultant. And this was like in the beginning of, like 2008, 2009. I had a pretty flourishing business because it was in the beginning, and a lot of businesses didn't know that they should and could do their own social media. But anyway, so I had a pretty good business, but because of word of mouth, I ended up getting clients that were in this transformational space. They were authors, they were TV show hosts, and they ran the gamut. But I started being referred from one to the other, and I had to learn about each of their businesses and their brands and what they were all about. And there was one common denominator, was the book The Secret. And I was like, well, if I'm going to do my job the best I can do, I need to read this book, whatever it is. And so I read The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, and it was the most, everybody says this when they discover the law of attraction, but to say my mind was blown is just such an understatement, because what I realized was that I had been leveraging the law of attraction my whole life, and then I lost it. I lost it when I had those kids. I let fear overcome me, and I stopped being able to decide what I wanted. I stopped feeling powerful. I stopped recognizing that I had control. And so with this knowledge and with the completion of reading the book, I went a deep dive into the neuroscience and the quantum physics of how the law of attraction works. And then just not only did everything get resolved for me, I started using the power of the law of attraction for myself. But most importantly, I have not had another anxiety attack. And so it's been, 12 years, and that has never come back again. And the reason it doesn't come back is because as soon as you can really internalize this power of control, and it's from everything from your exterior circumstances to shifting your mindset, to bringing in the right positive energy, to shifting your relationships and changing your physical body, right? When I started realizing that I could eradicate a cold, or, I actually had something called a dermoid cyst. And this was, again, those early parts of the year, of the time when I was getting out of my anxiousness. I had something on my ovary, and it was really, really bad. But the next time around, meaning the doctor found another one, and I was deep into my law of attraction practice again by this time. And he said, let's watch it. And I used my law of attraction practice this time, and I eradicated it. The doctor was embarrassed by, I felt bad for him. We did the ultrasound, the follow-up, after I spent a month doing my visualization practice and my meditation practice on this dermoid cyst. And so instead of seeing the rate at which it was growing, it wasn't there. And he pulled me into his office. He's like, well, Mrs. Petto, you don't have anything to worry about. There's nothing there. And I said, well, what do you mean? I mean, it was on there like a month ago. Where did it go? What do you mean? And he's like, well, there's nothing there, so you may leave. And I heard this, he was getting anxious because he didn't want to be accused of, falsely finding something. I'm sure it was there, but it was gone. So, wow. Perhaps I'm digressing a little bit, but the point is, when you realize that you have that kind of control over all of the power of your body and of your circumstance, your successes, your dream home, your job, and you can teach that to your children. And then you can teach it to other people and bring on clients and start doing workshops and really making a positive impact. So it didn't just change my life when I realized what I had been doing and then how it had been working. But it's been like really a dream to be able to help others do this as well.
I had the chills the entire time that you were talking just now, because the examples that you gave are extremely monumental and so life-changing. I have an autoimmune that I was diagnosed with about 2 years ago. And so I'm actively trying to kind of do exactly what you're talking about. And I've been following a lot of your tips and pointers and, pieces and portions of your program in order to facilitate that as well. And, I'm hoping, I haven't gotten any of my tests redone or anything, but I'm hoping that I will have the same success story. And I think it's amazing. I mean, I literally have the chills from the anxiety portion, which I think most of the people watching this, myself very much included, I lost my power when I felt that I lost my power when I had my kids. Mine are still younger. So it's a struggle to like be in your power at all times, but this is monumental. It's life-changing. And I don't want to ramble about my own examples about the transformations that I'm going through, because I can we'll sit here for another 3 hours, but I have consciously made it my duty this past, I want to say almost a year, probably about 9 months or so, to manifest my dream life. And I am putting all kinds of things on my vision board and out there into the universe about things that I want, and it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen because everything works out for me. And I love that. And so, what can you provide, like other examples of maybe clients or people that you've worked with that have had the same life-changing results?
Sure. And I think I will. And I think it's really important too to anybody watching right now, um, that this power and how the law of attraction works, it works on your cellular level because that's where energy is, but it's also putting out energy and working with the quantum field. And so if somebody has, health desires that they want to manifest, and whether it's, illness related or a condition or simple, I want to have more glowing skin, or I need to lose 60 pounds, or, whatever those things are, it it often is a combination of how you can work with your body to change the cellular memory that keeps repeating itself. And that's based on your intention. We hear all the time about how we can't get out of our own way. Sometimes we're kind of locked down. Our thermostat says, well, I really should be it this way, right? Because that's what you're used to. So part of when you engage in the law of attraction practice, to put it into ignition, is to change that mindset. And it does change your cellular memory of how your body works. But it's also putting out feelers out into the world where you stumble across new resources. So just using a condition like yours as an example, you could start to change the way your body works, but in this mindset and in this space where when you've set yourself up in authentic alignment with the manifestation of what you want, you will also meet people that can help you, and a coach, and perhaps see a commercial for a nutrient that helps the condition that you have. So all of these things kind of come into play, and you don't even realize it. But when you're on the other side and things are looking great, and it's funny because people will say, well, get healed because of my mindset. I mean, I found this medicine and I found this coach. And so people that are unaware, if they're feeling positive, they don't know that they've engaged the law of attraction, right? If they have the shift of being in the positive funnel of vibrational acceptance from these cooperative components, it's going to happen. And that's why people unaware are the people that are always down on their luck, or people that are always happy. They don't know what the law of attraction is, but it is all of the things always coming together that is aligned with what you're thinking about and your attitude. But it is magical. And one of the things, I know you asked about what are some stories, but it's important going into hearing these stories to recognize that the law of attraction does not know like time and space. So it often comes off like a miracle, and I'll tell the miracle. I'll give you a couple of miracle scenarios, but that's because the universe just works in these crazy ways, as long as you are cooperating with it. And some people call it the universe. They might call it God or spirit. If you're a scientist, you call it the quantum field. It is quantum physics, but it relates to your neuroscience and how you're wired. So I love, my favorite stories are about the kids that I've worked with, because kids, on the one hand, if you talk about a population that really could feel victimized or have no control, it's a kid, right? They have to go to school. They're assigned their teachers. They're assigned where to sit,
Mm-hmm.
they might not feel like an adult, even if we feel trapped. Deep inside, we know we could quit the job if we wanted, or we could get rid of the boyfriend if we wanted, right? You could change your eating habits, right? But a kid doesn't feel they have those options in the scenarios that tend to make them feel like they have no control over their lives. And so when they see this magic happen, it's really phenomenal. And they're also more apt to embrace it. I mean, it is for everybody. The kids have less baggage, right? They have less of that monkey mind going on over here. Well, my experience tells me that this is not going to work, right? They don't have that, which gives them an advantage. It helps them align faster. It helps them wire faster because they don't have that crap in their head. One of my I have two favorite stories. They're in my book, so little spoiler alert. But one of them is about a young girl. She was in 4th grade, and she was being bullied by her 2 best friends, emotionally bullied. Is that how you say it? Socially bullied. And so the other two would get together. They would decide, well, Trina is out. We don't like her anymore. And then they convinced all the other girls in the class that Trina was out. Don't be friends with her. And so while she was a good student, she could not, she'd get overwhelmed at night. She didn't want to go to school. Nobody would sit with her at lunch. Nobody would talk to her. We're talking about the girls, right? And how much, and that's what matters when you're 9.
Absolutely.
And so, I worked with her, and we worked on specifically visualizations, not so much meditation, right? And again, they need a little less meditation because they don't have as much of the monkey mind as we do, or the baggage to like clear out. But we just worked on affirmations and a visualization that was very empowering. And with visualization, what a lot of people don't know is you need the emotion behind it. So let me tell you, when Trina imagined and visualized what she wanted and what her day was going to look like the next day without those bullies in her life and having her friends, and she tied these affirmations to it. And her mom encouraged her to just kind of fall asleep repeating these affirmations and feeling good. And then her mom reminded her in the morning, remember, you're going to go to school. Even if you see those girls there, they mean nothing to you. It's like you don't see them. So even if you see them, they don't matter. Keep your affirmations. She was, the report back was like, she left for school with a skip in her step because she had so internalized what this day was going to be. And when you find out that you have kind of a Harry Potter magic power, it's really exciting. And sure enough, one of the 2 girls was absent that day. And when she got into school and into the classroom, the other one was in the corner, and she was kind of, like, she looked sad, probably because her counterpart was not there with her. And so she sat down, and halfway through, like, the beginning of class, an aide came in and called that one bully that was there out of the classroom. Turned out later, she was disciplined for bad behavior and was moved to another classroom scenario, separated from the one that was absent. I don't know. She went into lunch, and one of the girls in her class called her over to sit with her. And then all the other girls started coming and sitting with them. And this was all in the report back at the end of the day. She found herself being the center of the social circle, telling stories, and the other girls laughing along. Just everything shifted. And, that was years ago that I worked with that client, and she continues to excel. She is phenomenal with the camera. She's a wonderful blogger. She's really accelerating in college. So, like, everything really, that when you can get a kid young to understand that power, kind of like what I always had, but didn't know how to enact it, but I had it all along. I just lost it. So that's an example of how quickly an overnight shift can occur. Should I tell you another one, or do you want to move on?
I continue to have the chills, and like I said, I'm seeing now the transformation within myself. I'm seeing it with some of my coaching clients as well. I do try to incorporate some of the concepts from your book, from all of your workshops, the vision board events that we've done together. So I am like, this is just part of my mantra right now. So I definitely would love to hear another story.
Okay. Well, I think what I will do is, let's see, should I tell you a teenager story, or should I tell you a job story, like an adult job story?
I think because we kind of focused on the adolescent or the child story, and like you said, because they tend to have less preconceived notions than we do, I would like to hear an adult one, whether it's job related or anything, because I feel like we are so closed off. Not all of us, but I'm speaking just in general terms, especially now with everything that's going on. I think that a lot of people tend to be isolated. We can't, see each other as much as we want to. And I feel that I am seeing a lot of just like depression and a lot of issues around me. And I think I, would like to hear something relevant like that. Like, I know plenty of people that are unhappy in their jobs, all kinds of different stories, people that are very unhappy in their relationships. So I would love to hear something that would maybe relate more to like the adult population, because we're so stuck in our heads about like, this is just the way it is. It is what it is. I've been hearing that for years from a lot of different individuals, and it always gave me I got like a pit, in my stomach, because I always internally was like, it's not what it is. So I also had to come into that process, and I've only come back into it within the last maybe 9 months or so, and it is so transformational. So I feel like a lot of people don't have that clarity, and so I would love to kind of hear something a little bit more geared like toward the adults.
I worked with a gentleman who was unhappy in his job for a really long time, and spent a year. He had spent more than a year, like his part-time job was looking for another job. So he'd go to his job, be unhappy in his job, come home and pound, Indeed and Career Builder and LinkedIn, and just constantly. And he probably, I think I remember him saying that it was like maybe 1 out of every 30 applications would result in like a first phone interview, and they would just go nowhere. And the job he was in, he was underpaid, and it was after already having been in an unhappy job. So, so what we did was we worked on not just the mindset, but there's energies that you have to play with, and there is clarity you need in what you want. And this is really important too for the people out there who probably, they know that they have to put something on their vision board or decide what they want. And then they think about when they decide what they want, what do I do if I don't know what I want? And so it turned out he was just applying for anything that was applicable, right? That his skill set, but he didn't put any thought into what he wanted. And so when you don't do that, you're not deciding with clarity. But then how do you reconcile needing clarity but not knowing what it is? And the answer, so I'm going to give a hot tip right now. The answer is visualizing what it's going to feel like, right? And think about some of the components of the job. In other words, not the title and not the job description, but more about I like to work in teams, or I like to be really independent, or COVID aside, I want to be able to do field work, or I prefer to be behind the screen. Where the job is, the kind of impact it makes on the world or on yourself. You start to get clarity, and that's what we worked on. And what do you feel best about, like when you do your job? What are your favorite moments, and all of that. We put all that together. And then we talked about raising the energy. We worked on techniques for raising the energy, and we worked on techniques for inspired action, which is really important. Inspired action doesn't mean taking action to get what you want. It just means that's how you live, that everything that you do and place that you stop and phone call you make and couch you sit on or hard work you do is because you're driven to do it in that moment. That's how the universe pulls you once you've aligned. And so all of 3 days passed from the night we worked together to him running into an old friend at a blood drive who said, "Hey, are you looking for work? I remember you were looking for work a long time ago. It's funny that I ran into you here. I know a company, a startup that's looking for somebody's help." And literally that night, and it turned out the friend was the CEO of the company. So he wrote to my client, wrote to that guy and said, "This person connected to me. Here's my resume." He was asked to come in on a Sunday for that interview. And on Monday, he had a job offer. And so, did any of it involve Career Builder or LinkedIn? No. And, this is the piece. And I just had a client this morning who was very stressed about, it had to do with finding a home. And there's so much attention to looking at listing after listing in realtor.com. And I'm sure the real estate business, and things being sucked up right away as soon as they're on the market. And she's got to be out in a few weeks. So stressed. But she's doing everything like we do as humans. Well, these are the steps I'm supposed to take, and hitting walls, right? So the takeaway from, we work through very specific kind of exercises and things, but the takeaway is stop relying on yourself. Work with the energetic field around you. We've all experienced coincidences and running into old friends after we talked to them. I had that experience myself 2 days ago. It just blew my mind what happened a few days ago. And it just had to do with an old friend, right? And these coincidences, it's exactly the same science. Let yourself go, surrender to your vision, surrender to the things that you love and what you imagine for yourself, and get out of this framework of, this is how I know I have to do it. This very human, I'm on my own, and instead engage with the power that we have. I love that story, that after a year and a half of, going through the human resources systems of every company on the planet, it was a blood drive, which, by the way, he felt compelled to go to when he was supposed to be somewhere else. He was actually supposed to be paying respects for a friend's relative passed away, but he also was asked to donate blood, and he went with his gut and said, "My friend will forgive me. Somebody needs blood, and I'm going there." And he went there. I mean, so others call that coincidence, right time, right place. But that's what we're talking about, being able to hear your gut and let the universe drive you to those places. It can happen. It does happen.
Mary, thank you so much. This is the reason why I want to do this project. And just really quickly, I have manifested all of this. I manifested this project. For those that don't know, I actually had a dream about all of this, and I don't dream ever. And because the universe started aligning me with the people and the things that I need right now in my life and on my path, I actually dreamt up this whole project with the name of the movement and everything. So I am 1000% very much into this whole concept. And I love your book, and I'm going to be sharing a link for your book because this is really transformational. And I think everybody needs to align with this concept, and we see people, especially now during this time, and I keep saying that you just see a lot of very stressed people that are out of alignment. Like, I'll be in the grocery store and just watch two people start fighting, and I'm like, I don't even understand, like, why are you wasting your time? You could be out doing so many amazing things. So I'm seeing even within my own coaching practice that a lot of people right now especially are really out of alignment. And I think this is monumental, and it is amazing. And I think that everybody needs to definitely get into this mindset of manifesting and creating the life that you want. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for being a part of my project. I am humbled. I'm honored to work with you. You are phenomenal. We're doing a small vision board event together to welcome in all the positivity that 2021 is going to bring us. I am consciously working on trying to make it that this virus goes away. So hopefully our viewers, and yourself included, are going to join me in doing that. I think we all need to see a little bit more peace with that. And I think we just need to get all ourselves back into alignment. So thank you so much for sharing. This has been healing for me as well. I am a huge believer that even by doing these videos, we are healing ourselves by sharing our stories. And thank you for being raw and open and honest and vulnerable. This is the entire point of the project, is to show people that even us as coaches, we have been through trauma. We have been through adversity, and we have come out on the other side, and what you're doing is changing so many lives. So thank you for that. It's like the same way they say thank you now to the first responders, and I send a thank you out to them as well, but I'm sending a huge one to you because your work really is life-changing.
Thank you so much. It is absolutely my honor, my pleasure, and purpose. And if you don't mind, I'd like to provide a resource too to your viewers. So the website portablevisions.com, that is my website, and there's free content there. You could find the book there too. There's a course you can do at home on your own that's got everything you need to, especially during this time of COVID when we can't be together. But all kinds of tips and resources, and people can reach out to me there too and ask me questions. So portablevisions.com would be the place to go. And thank you for the work you're doing, Julia, because people need to see that they're not alone in their experience. And I love what you're doing. I just think it's amazing. You're a true light worker. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And like I said, I'm very humbled, and you are part, I have like a wellness entourage, and you are a major part of my wellness and sanity entourage. You keep me sane, and I'm filled with gratitude. I'm grateful. So thank you so much. I will be sharing some links underneath this video, guys. If anybody would like to participate in the project, please feel free to reach out to me. And thank you so much, Mary. And thank you guys for your time. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye, guys. Thank you.